Well, I hope you all are having a great day. It's a little bit rainy here in Maryland, and we still have snow on the ground. It was a really cold week. I picked some awesome times to go out of town. My husband was left home alone with the fur cats, and I was either in Florida or in California. Like, darn. So if you can hear me, go ahead and type in where you are from. I'd love to hear that. And every video and okay, I'm getting some messages in here about the sound. So great. Thank you for that. Let's see. Delaware. I see we have someone from Delaware. Hi. Hi, Lori. Welcome. Oh, another Marylander. Yay. Glad to see it. Glad to see it. Well, hey, I have people here on Facebook as well as YouTube, and those people out on Facebook and YouTube cannot hear everyone that I have behind the scenes over in Zoom. So just to let you know, that's kind of how things are operating today. I have a live stream going, and I should be able to see comments over there. I see that my computer wants to do something a little glitchy. It's been that kind of week. My computer has just been so fussy. I see like it's spinning and I don't know what it's spinning about. It doesn't give me enough information. So we will see how things go. So this is recorded. It will be available to watch later, just this first part of it over on YouTube and Zoom. And then those of you that are in my Zoom meeting, you get special access to the recording a little later. So my name is Michelle Umlauf, and I am a national educator. I've been teaching sewing professionally for about 15 years. I work with some really cool companies. Salke is where I started, as well as Clover. I started working with them in 2017, and it's been a lot of fun. I have just like such a cool job, I get to travel around the country and meet people and teach you all how to use their notions and their supplies. And it's just a lot of fun. I really enjoy meeting everyone. So let's see. I just got back from Road to California, and that was a beautiful show. Let me tell you, I, by nature, am not a quilter, but I am a sewer. So, we do a little bit of everything. And I just have such an appreciation for all the workmanship that goes into everyone's quilt that they do, and they were just so spectacular. If you haven't looked over on Facebook, you can look me up there. Michelle Umlauf is where I posted it, or it might be over on Sewing Machine Artistry. If I didn't share it there, I'll take a look and make sure it's there. But I did a couple videos of walking down the aisles and just showing you like all the eye candy from some of the vendors. And then the last day, I zipped through the exhibit hall, the main hall, and got to see some of the quilts, and it was just amazing. Like the lighting was spectacular. It really showcased each quilt the way that they deserved. And then they had live music playing, really pretty piano music, and it really felt wonderful. And just as soon as you didn't think like quilts could get any more surprising, there came the next one or the next row, and it was just so cool. I remember specifically there was a challenge or a call or entry for poppies, the flower poppies, and it was so interesting to see that how many people, had the same theme to work from and how different each of those quilts looked. It was just phenomenal, mind-blowing. But there were some really good vendors there. If you haven't been to Road to California, it's located in Ontario, California. So it's west of Los Angeles. You know, they said that the fires weren't close, so don't worry. The air quality was fine and all that. And they said that the fires were like 30 miles away. And I'm like scratching my head saying, I live in Maryland and the fires aren't close. But when I hear 30 miles away, that's pretty close in my books. But I was taught a little bit about science and how the winds blow and how they actually increase with speed and how it makes things easily catch on fire. It's pretty scary. So my heart is definitely out to those people, you know, and a lot of people that have suffered through some sort of devastation throughout the past year. It's just heartbreaking. But this is a place to uplift your spirits and to make you happy. I'm going to show you some of the tools that I demonstrated at Road to California. Clover came out with some limited edition tools, and then they came out with some new ones. So which ones do you want to see? The new limited edition tools, or do you want to see the brand new tools? Let's hear it. I'll give you time. Type it in. And I told you that my computer was freezing up a little bit, and it's not going to let me check those comments. That's not limited edition. I hear one for limited edition. Do I hear two? All right, we'll go with limited edition. I'll save the best for last. How's that then? The brand newsies for last. All right, so let me change my camera here. I feel like I'm operating some really sophisticated equipment. Camera switcher, I think that's what I want. That's not what I want. Let me see my windows. Sorry about that. I have like all these different controls and scenes. That's what I want. Let's see a different scene. All right, I have a demo area set up. Okay, don't worry, I hid those. Oh yes, this is a special pen. How do you like that? Sometimes when I work at the Clover shows with them, people are so funny. I say it's like fishing in a barrel because I could be like, oh, this pen is so cool. It's the latest one I got and it just writes fantastic. And they're like, where can I buy it? So it gets kind of interesting. This one's a little bit of a repeat. Okay, this is the Quick Desk needle threader. Okay, and some of you may have the original one that was out a few years ago. This one is improved because you'll see that it has like a pictorial here, okay, of instructions. So make sure if you're looking for the new one, this is the one that you want. All right, so when I talk to people about this needle threader, there's something that you have to be aware of. And I like to look at you all, or I like you to think that I'm looking at you. So let me add another camera in here. Camera overlay. Whoops, wrong one. Hold on. I don't like you all to think like I just left you, right? Give me just a second. Overlay, new camera overlay. And I want that one, okay? And I can make this one small and put me over here. Okay, so so a lot of people had problems with the previous one, and this one has been revised a little bit. Okay, so the thing you have to know about this needle threader is that it is compatible with a couple different needle types. Okay, and when I say needle types, you know, like there's applique needles, there's embroidery needles, there's chenille needles, there's quilting needles, there's all kinds of needles, right? And we're talking about hand embroidery needles or hand sewing needles. So Clover has this line that's called Black Gold. Okay, and it is compatible with the needles that are in this line. So what they have are the quilting between, and appliques. Okay, they're also known as sharps, applique sharps. And Clover has another line of needles that are called the uh, gold eye embroidery needles. I had to think about that for a second. And the ones that are the quilting between, and the applique needles are the ones that this needle threader is compatible with. And the reason that is because the eye of the needle is an oval shape. Okay, some of the other needles have a really round eye, and then some of them might be just too big altogether. So these needles are the right ones to use with the Quick Desk needle threader, and that's the oval needle. I'll repeat those needles again. It's the quilting between, as well as the appliques or sharps. Okay, so this picture shows where you lay your thread across, and I will demonstrate this. You're going to lay your thread across here in this opening, and then you're going to place your needle inside of this little hole, okay? But there's a way that you have to put that needle inside the hole so that this will thread it for you. So when I was demonstrating to people, so you can see me up in the corner of your screen, right? They were in front of me, and I had the needle threader like this, and I told them, okay, you have to see me, I have to see you through the eye of the needle, okay? And that's how it gets inserted in here. If that doesn't make sense, maybe the demonstration will make sense, but you can also see it on the side here. You can see that the needle has a little opening in it, and that means the way that you orient it in there. And then the final step is that you depress this lever, okay? So this does thread the needle a little differently than the last one too. So it's been improved in that aspect as well. So what you'll notice here is there is a little tiny blade there. So you can cut your thread right on this needle threader, and there's no need for scissors. Like, thank goodness. That's always a pain to try to grab the scissors afterwards. You know, it's just one more extra step. So let's see, I'll do this like I'm demonstrating, because you are looking at me like other people were. The picture is right here. It's going to be towards the front where you all are. So I put the thread in here. Here's the tail right here, and I'm going to put it in right along there. So most of the thread is to one side, and there's a reason for that. Okay, so this one's the shortest one. I think this one's a little longer. These are small needles, very, very tiny needles. I like to use chenille needles, but they definitely are not compatible with this. So I have to see the eye of the needle. So, you know, if I had x-ray vision, I could see through that eye of the needle. So I'm going to stick it in here. And now I'm going to depress this lever, and you'll see the thread kind of shrink up, okay? So see how it's shrinked up a little bit? So I'm going to pull it out, okay? And as I'm pulling this out, I want you to see this. It has the two strands of thread there, right? And if I pull it out a little further, once I get to that like little magical spot, it has automatically thread the needle for me, like all the way through the eye of the needle. So let me do that again. Just to let you know, this is called a Sweet and Sharp Macaron by Clover. It's a really sought after product. I could have it on my station and people will come across the room. So let's say this was the area that I used the last time. It does put a little crimp in the thread, so you can't use that same section again, okay? It just, if it didn't work and you tried to not take the thread out and not move it, it will just not work. So you have to move it over a little bit, the thread over a little bit. Okay, I can see through the eye of the needle there. I'm going to depress it. It shriveled up a little bit, and I'm going to pull it. So let me put this over to the side so you can see it. See, there's two strands of thread in that eye of the needle, right? And we're going to pull this through. The weight of thread that I have in there, and then right when I get to this little point right there, See that? The needle is completely threaded. So the thread weight that I have in here is regular construction thread. So that's about a 50 weight. If you try anything heavier than that, it's more than likely not going to work. I'm sure you can go smaller. I have not tried that yet. And I'm trying to think, do I have any lighter weight thread nearby? Like, of course I do. Let me look for it. We'll try some of Salkey's 60 weight thread and see how that works. Okay, the thread that I did previously was a 50 weight. That's regular Gutermann's construction thread. I just put lotion on. So these thread ends kind of pop open so that you can easily store your thread tails. I'm going to cut it there on that blade. And, I have my cat that likes to be down here with me, and I just don't trust her getting in stuff. And I really don't need to take a visit to the veterinarians. So I will secure that thread tail in there, and we're all set. So I don't know if you can see the difference in the size of those two threads, but that is a huge difference. 50 weight and 60 weight. Okay, this 60 weight is a polyester thread. I'm going to put that in there. And then I'm going to get the needle. Check out the orientation. Okay, it looks good to me. I'm going to stick it in there. And then I'm going to depress it. Choo! Woohoo! So that worked. It made a little loop. Let me get this other thread out of the way. It made a little loop, and I can just pull that through, and it is totally threaded for me, ready to go. Yay! So I know that heavier weight thread's just not going to work. This is a smaller needle. So that is the Quick Desk Needle Threader. Just be sure if you look at one of these in the store that it has the picture on the side. Salkey has changed the packaging a little bit on these, so I think this one is now in like a little cardboard box. So let me get these thread tails secured so that the cat will not get into them. All right, so the next thing I have for you, limited edition wise, is I was going to show you how I store some of my notions when I'm traveling. I have this really nice zippered case. When I open it up, it has a compartment for me to store all of my notions, and then this nice zippered case where I can put those odd size things. So the limited edition are these two. Da da da! They're limited edition because they are purple. Look at that. So let me show you the other ones. I think color matters. I think color is really important to us. It's the little things that we enjoy, right? So before, this point-to-point turner was white, and now we have it in purple. So one of the things that, we know that we want to get some younger people sewing too, and maybe this purple might resonate with them. Maybe you might have a young sewer in mind that it needs some of her sewing tools, his or her sewing tools, and their favorite color is purple, so this would be great. Or maybe your favorite color is purple, and you can get a new one and hand down your other one. This is called the Hold It Precision Stiletto. Let me get that out of the way. And it was blue before, and now it's purple. It's actually called lavender. So what do you use these notions for? So this works great as an extra finger. It's the Hold It Precision Stiletto. And when I was sewing at the show last week, I was using it also as a seam guide. I don't have my camera set up at the sewing machine, but I would put this at a point next to my presser foot and hold it there as I was guiding my fabric too. So in a crunch, it would work as a seam guide. If you have something small, let's see, I thought I had something small right here, but something small that you want to get into the corner when you're sewing. You can use this either on the side or up front like that to help guide that underneath your presser foot so that it feeds under there nice and smoothly and doesn't like fold in half, if you will. So it's great to use instead of your finger or your fingernail. And then this end is rubberized, so it will hold on to things. It will kind of like grip it because it won't slide because of the rubber tip. And then it's also amazing to use at your ironing station because it will resist the heat from your iron. So you don't have to burn your fingers any longer to get like those little tiny points that you might be sewing. So this is the Hold It Precision Stiletto. Great tool to have. And plus, with it being not metal, you won't break your needle if you happen to get that in contact with the stiletto end. Yay for that. Okay, this is a really cool tool. This is 2 tools in one and maybe even more tools than that. This end of it is traditionally known as a Hera marker, and that's Hera. You can find just a Hera marker alone, but this has been like supersized, if you will, and it now has a point turner on the other end. Okay, so the point turner and having these in is 2 tools in one. Isn't that awesome? And that's maybe like a little bit of a theme today. So while I was working on a little shirt while I was at QuiltCon, and one thing that I wanted to show you what I did is, let's see, I have things here and I tucked them away kind of like in a safe little spot off to the side, right? Now I can't find them. So Clover has a set of curved rulers that come in a really nice little plastic envelope. Sorry that you can see the reflection. Okay, and since what I was working on was a hem, didn't have a straight curve or didn't have a straight edge to it, I found these rulers to be very handy. So let's just kind of not pay attention to this pattern for a second. And it was actually the edge of the hem of the little shirt that I was making. And it said turn it over 1/4 of an inch and fold it, and then fold it over 5/8 of an inch. So what I did was I used this ruler. It's nicely marked. This does have a little bit of a turn to it. Now I have it wrong side because I'm right-handed. Okay, so I'll just look at 1/4 inch right here. There is a little curve at the end here. So I took the Hera marker end of this and I just scored that until it started getting away from the line, okay? And I worked myself all the way over. So when I score that, I think you can see the shadow just a little bit. It makes a little like invisible crease. You can use this for quilting or any other kind of marks that you want to make that you don't want to be visible. So we'll say that I did this whole thing, and when I go over to my iron, since that's creased, it will memorize where that fold is, and then I can press it. I can even press it with my handy little stiletto, and it memorizes where this crease is. Wonderful. Isn't that nice? So that's what I like using these Hera markers for. That's like one of my top things for invisible marking, to do that. So handy. You can mark it on your cutting table and then go over to your pressing area and take care of that. So if you're turning something right side out, you're going to use this to get it up into the pointed areas and push out those corners really nicely, okay? But you know how sometimes like you might do like a pillow, for example, and you want to get up into the sides, like and really smooth out those seams a little bit. This works great, especially if you're going around a curve or something like that. This is just absolutely wonderful to use this edge. So that's a couple things that you can use with the hair marker and point-to-point turner, as well as the Hold It Precision Stiletto. Again, both of these are Clover products, so if you're looking for them, I do not sell them. You can look for them either at clover-usa.com or you can go to Amazon. Amazon is kind of hard to beat with prices, but one place that I've found that is very competitive is Sewing Parts Online. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you are some of these newer tools. Let's see, I'll show you this one. I couldn't demonstrate this at QuiltCon because they are sold out. So if you find this, get it, grab it. They'll be back in stock come April, I hear. So, you know, some things are going on. Hopefully that is still the case. So this is the new Grip Fit Ruler, or I'm sorry, Seam Ripper. Oh. And I really like this ergonomical design. Another thing I really appreciate about this is that it has this little plastic tube that will protect this. I don't know if they really intend you to use this tube over and over again, but I'm going to keep using it as long as I can. I like to not jab myself, or at least protect the point when it's not in use, especially when I'm traveling. So as you can see, it fits into my hand very nicely. Like it just is just a natural grabbing of that because of the design. It just feels so nice to be able to have like this curve here that is up against my finger. And then an area like an indentation for me to put my thumb if I need to do that. And it is very, very comfortable to hold on to. So I can only imagine that we're all going to be so happy the next time we have to take out stitches with our brand new Grip Fit Seam Ripper. But it is really amazing. It's just too bad I couldn't demonstrate it because I can always sew something together and let people zip, take it apart, and I forgot to bring something over so that I could demonstrate that. Just assuming that you all know how to use a seam ripper. If you're going to sew, you're going to rip them out, right? So the other end is rubberized as well. So if you need to grab a hold of your little threads, then you have a really nice, comfortable way to get a hold of those threads and remove them. So that is the Grip Fit Seam Ripper. One more thing I have in the arsenal from Clover, and this is super cool. I mean, why did we not think about this a long time ago? And it is the triple tracing wheel. Yeah, like triple tracing wheel. Look at that. This is super cool. Let me get this thing out of the way. So as you can see, I have the blunt ruler, or the blunt tracing wheel here, as well as I guess this one's not the serrated one. I can't remember what it's called offhand, but it has the little divots, so it will make little dots, right? So I said it was a triple tracing wheel, right? There's one more. You just twist this handle, and again, I put that lotion on. I should not have done that. Mistake. I didn't want my hands to look all dry and icky. There we go. Got it off with a little help of a napkin. So here is the serrated tracing wheel. So these are interchangeable. So I can pull this one out. The first time you're going to pull that one out, it's going to be a little tight, but it will get easier. And I can pull another one of those out and replace it. Okay? So then you can have two up here at one time. So since I don't have I always want to put something inside there. I think I need to put candy in there. That is another place for M&Ms, like a nice hollowed area for M&Ms. But it goes into the cap. Okay. and it won't get lost. So we'll put this in. Okay, so we have our triple tracing wheel. I did bring something over for you, and I looked and I had marked these already. So I'll just do another marking on here so that you can see it. Clover does have tracing paper. This is a wax tracing paper. A lot of times you might see carbon tracing paper, and that can be a little messy. But Clover's tracing paper is a sheet that, how big are these? About 12 by 10, and it has 5 different sheets in there. So plenty of colors to work with. And I went ahead and cut this up just to go ahead and fit the area that I need to work with. So I'm going to place that down there. And when you're constructing clothes, maybe you have like your what's it called? You have your seam allowance, but then you have the other line in there. There's stitch line. So maybe you want to trace 2 different colored lines, for example, and you could, or 2 different type of lines. You could have one that's dashed and one that's solid if you want. So I'm just going to run this one along the green line here for you. And we're going to pull that up. And there you can see the markings. It's so not very visible on camera. Huh, you would think that I used the Hera marker for this, but it is there. So if you can't see the lines bright enough for when you're sewing, you can always use another type of marker, like an air erasable or a water erasable marker to make that point. But I'm sorry that you can't see that right there. It's right there. You can see a couple little dashes. Let me try it again with a different color. Let's see, what color should I use? What that one was green. Okay. I don't think I have any smaller pieces here. Sometimes we do this on UFO Friday. I'll demonstrate something and it doesn't quite go as planned. But I do see that mark. I'm going to try it again and see if we can let you see something. So I'm just going to make a fun mark right here. And I'm not pressing any harder than before. There we go. I can, wow, okay. I think it's the lighting too. So that's blue, and that showed up really well for you. If I get the lighting just right. There we go. That one's quite visible. So that's a good color, blue. So if I wanted a straight line right beside it, for example, I will just flip this over to the other side. I don't have to move anything. I will just make my straight line right there. Now I'm kind of like in the habit yet of holding this like I do one of the traditional tracing wheels. I caught myself that time. And what you can do is hold on to this, like really grip this handle. It's a nice big handle. And you can hold it like a rotary cutter and push down on it like so. No, these do not have rotary cutting blades in them. But so you can see my lines a little bit. So there's one there and one that went over this one. So no, it's not a rotary cutter. So don't think that. This is a tracing wheel. So that is the Grip Fit triple tracing wheel. And I think it's just a really great design. This is 3 tools in one, right? All right. So any questions so far? I hear somebody in the background. I'm unable to mute them. Whoever has somebody talking in the background or TV on or something like that, can you please mute yourself? I'm not sure who it is because my screen's all glitchy. It's all frozen up. So my next topic, let's see. I see everybody. Did someone say it's Pamela? I don't see a Pamela on my screen. It's frozen. Oh, okay. It's all frozen on my end. Let's see. Ah, nope. I was going to say she heard her name. I got that little spinning wheel of death. I'm glad that you all are able to hear me as it is. Pamela, are you there? Hello, Pamela? Hello, Pamela? Hello? Pamela? Can you all see her on the screen?
I think she's talking to somebody else and not looking at the screen.
I wish I had the ability to put one of you all in charge here for a second, but I just can't. Pamela. Let's see. The way that I'm using this program, it's different than the way you all sign into Zoom, so that's why my hands are kind of tied. Pamela Hop. Calling Pamela Hop. Can you hear me? Is anybody else able to click on her name and do something?
All I can do is send her a chat.
We'll see if that'll work. Thanks, Heather. Hello, Pamela. We have a little technical issue going on behind the scenes over in the Zoom room that I need to take care of. So we'll just take a little 5 seconds here or so to try to address this. You know what? Let me see what I can do. I'm going to see. If I have to, I'll jump in on my computer. I'll go into Zoom itself. Maybe I can sign in and do something. Sorry about this, you all. Hello, Pamela? She might even have me muted because I'm bugging her. So do you all have any questions as I try to sign into Zoom and mute her?
No, I like that last one. My mom still does tracing.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool tool. I like that too. Sometimes when it rains, it pours, right? This computer's running a little slow. She probably forgot that she was online if she had to go answer the call or the door. Give me a second, you all. Oh, they moved. Oh, no, they didn't. Pamela. They're like, who's calling you? Pamela. Oops. I'm going to sign in administratively on my other computer since this one's running a little slow. Things happen. Technology happens sometimes. There's not a whole lot we can do about it. Let's see, meetings. Note to self, like maybe go ahead and sign in administratively on a different one, different computer. So I can do something like this. All right, I'm in here in this meeting with you all. Pamela?
Hold her.
There we go. Got her. Woo!
Sounds like she figured it out.
No, I put her on mute. I finally was able to get in there, but it did sound like they were talking about it a little bit. Okay. It's always something a little interesting. It's all good. All right, so now I'm going to talk to you about stabilizers. So, stabilizers are something that confuse people, and I can totally understand that because there's just so many different stabilizers available. So, I have a little presentation for you to kind of put this in perspective so that you can see all the different ones that are actually available. So, that was the Grip Fit Notions as well as the limited edition lavender tools that I told you about, and the Quick Desk Needle Threader. They're all packaged in boxes now. Okay, stabilizers. I have a download for you. So if you want to go to my website, it's sewingmachineartistry.mykajabi.com/stabilizers. Sorry, that is so long. But that is where you can get this download. I'll show you a picture of it a little later. And this will be able to help you work with stabilizers and start to understand what they are. Now, let's take a look at these a little closer. And you're going to notice that they are color coded. Okay, that sheet that I just showed you was color coded, as well as this page, because I'm all about like making it easy for you to understand and remember. Okay, so in the purple line, Salke has designated purple as the cutaway stabilizers. Okay, and there are 7 of them in this line now. Actually, one of them is brand new to me. I always go to their website from time to time, especially if I'm going to do a presentation like this. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, what's Action Back? That's new to me. I did not know about Action Back. And as I was looking on their website a little more, I noticed that there was a question that was asked about 8 months ago about Action Back stabilizer. And I was like, whoa, 8 months has passed and I haven't seen it. That's crazy. So you can see that on this sheet, there's 7 different stabilizers, and you can read what they are on the side. I kind of listed them in a order that makes sense to me, and if I share it with you, it'll kind of make sense to you. So the Cutaway Plus is like the thickest stabilizer, in my opinion, that doesn't fuse on. Okay, it's nice and soft. But it is a little hefty, okay? You can actually sew on it, you can paint it, you can dye it, you can do a lot of different things with it. If you don't know what stabilizers are, they have a lot of different uses, and a lot of times I say they'll help you get from point A to point B. Sometimes you come across just like a little rut when you're working, and it's like, how can I do this? You know, maybe you need temporary support for your stitches. And a good example of that is if just to get started sewing, like a lot of people want to start sewing on the very, very edge of their fabric, and it just won't work. So that's another good use for a stabilizer. Okay, so next we have Soft and Sheer and Soft and Sheer Extra. These two are very similar. They're a heavyweight stabilizer, but yet they are very flimsy. Flimsy in a good way, okay? That means like they have like a nice soft hand to them. The Soft and Sheer Extra just has a fusible to one side of it, so you can fuse that to the wrong side of your fabric. And then Fuse and Stitch is also another heavyweight stabilizer. It's kind of like Cutaway Plus, that it's that thick, but it has a fusible side to it. I would say it's even heavier weight than Cutaway Plus. This works really great if you're making something like, let's say, a bag, and you want to stabilize the pocket. Like you want the pocket to have like a little bit more body to it, so that if you when you put things in there, it doesn't just drape, okay? Fuse and stitch would be wonderful to put on the back side of that pocket to maintain its shape. And then there's Tender Touch. Tender Touch is the finest out of all of these. And this is the one that says, that people will say, I want that stabilizer that goes on the back. And then that's all they have to say. I know that they want to put it on the back of an embroidery design so that it won't irritate the skin. So that is Tender Touch. And then Stitch and Seal, that is kind of like a specialty stabilizer that was designed to, like, I don't want to say re-waterproof, but that's what comes to mind, like waterproof and embroidery design. So let's say you put an embroidery design on an umbrella, okay, and you're concerned about the design where the holes went through the umbrella, allowing the water to seep through and get you wet, right? So you would apply the Stitch and Seal stabilizer to the underside of that embroidery design, so along the bobbin threads, and that will reseal that area so that it's waterproof. And then Action Back sounds pretty interesting. I'm going to have to give you all a lowdown once I get my fingers on that. But it reads that it is a permanent stabilizer because it's all the cutaways are permanent. And this one is designed to go on the back side of like athletic wear, something that has a lot of stretch. And it says that this does handle a high density stitch design. So what I'm thinking are like sportswear, you know, like golf shirts and maybe like those water wicking shirts, kind of like maybe like the one I have on, it's kind of like a performance shirt. So that is what the Action Back stabilizer is. And these are all in the cutaway category, which is labeled purple. Not all manufacturers label their colors the same way. So you're going to have to kind of look at anything that you have in your stash to see if it's a permanent cutaway stabilizer, and you'll look for buzzwords like that. Like another name for soft and sheer is no-show mesh. Okay, so give them a good read and you might find something that's compatible. Whoops, skipped ahead one step. The next category of stabilizers is called tearaway stabilizers, and they're packaged in green, at least with Sulky. Okay, and there are 4 different stabilizers in this category. I started from the lightest, like maybe your basic go-to stabilizers, and that's Tearaway and Stiffy. They're designed to tear away off of your project. So they're not going to be there for the long haul like the cutaway stabilizer. So if you stitched a row of decorative stitches and you want to remove this stabilizer, you have to support those stitches. So that just means you're going to lay your fingers over top of those decorative stitches and you're just going to rip the stabilizer off on the side of your finger so that the stabilizer won't pull away at the stitches and jeopardize those. So that's Tearaway and Stiffy. Sticky Plus Stabilizer has a lot of different uses, especially if you're into machine embroidery, because you can use it right side up and upside down. Now, it's designed to go on the back side of your fabric. A lot of people will use it with machine embroidery when they want to embroider towels. So they will not hoop the towel, but hoop the stabilizer and place their towel. They'll score the stabilizer once it's hooped and place the towel on top and then stitch out their design. And then they can just pull away the towel and the stabilizer will tear off very easily. So that is Sticky Plus. The thing that you have to worry about Sticky Plus when using towels and any kind of nap fabric is that it might hold on to that nap more than what you want. So there's different quality of towels and the different, how do I want to say it? Like the loops are tighter than some and some are a little bit loose. So it might pull those looser ones out a little bit. So that is Sticky Plus Stabilizer. You can use it for other things wherever you need something like a template that easily peels off. Sticky Stabilizer is great if you just needed to like mark a corner or positioning or something like that. You can make yourself a template out of the Sticky Plus. Now, Totally Stable Stabilizer is a little different. It is a fusible stabilizer, but I won't say fusible. It's an iron-on stabilizer because people will liken it to the wax paper, okay? Except this is designed to work with your sewing stuff, right? And the Totally Stable irons on very easily. It just really takes a warm iron to put that on. Again, this one is repositionable. You can use it over several times. The back side of it will get a little linty as well, and then it's time to move on. Maybe you could use something like KK2000 to make it a little stickier for a little longer, but that is Totally Stable. A lot of people use the Totally Stable for applique designs, and I have yet to do an applique using Totally Stable. I think I have to find something to understand that. This is actually my favorite category of stabilizers, and this is wash away stabilizers. Before I go into this, let me go backwards a little bit. I'm going to go back. So the cutaway stabilizers, I wanted to tell you, if you are doing machine embroidery, okay, a rule of thumb for these is that you want to use this on a knit type fabric. The reason you want to use it on a knit type fabric is because your knit is stretchy, right? And these aren't stretchy. All of these stabilizers, except for Tender Touch, do not stretch. But what it's going to do is, since it's designed to stay with your project for the long haul, it's going to support it. And what it will do to a knit is it's going to say, you're not as stretchy as you think you are, because once you're working with me, you are now a woven fabric. So think of it kind of like in those kind of terms. You match cutaway stabilizers up with knit type fabrics when you do machine embroidery. Okay, and comparison to that, the tearaway stabilizers are generally used with woven fabrics because the woven fabrics are a little bit more sturdy because you have fibers going up and down and left and right. They are more sturdy than those knits because they aren't there's just not as much stretch in the woven fabric. So that's a great rule of thumb. Sometimes when I'm making like creative stuff and I use stabilizers, I then pick my stabilizer based on how I want it to feel in the long run, like when I'm finished with it. But Salke has a really great book. It's called Sew, Craft, Create, and Embroider Confidently with Salke. It might even be a downloadable book now. And what I like about that book is like in the back of it, it has like a recipe. So if you want to learn how to stabilize flannel, for example, you can go to that book, look up flannel, and it'll tell you the recipe for using stabilizer. Now, you can also go to Salke's website, and now I'm really like going rogue. I did not look that up, but I know they have a section on their website for, I think it's called Stabilizer Selection Tool. And when you go to that, you can tell it what kind of stabilizer or what kind of fabric you're using, and it will give you the recipe right online. So that's a really wonderful feature to have at your fingertips. All right, let's go into those wash away stabilizers. These are my favorite stabilizers because you can do some really cool creative things with these. We like to make a lot of different scarves with the wash away stabilizers. So wash away stabilizers are designed to be removed. So whatever it is that you're sewing or embroidering, it does not need any further stabilization. So it's going to give you that temporary stability that you need. And then you're going to apply water to it and these totally disappear. I have a class that I've been thinking about offering online that will go into each of these stabilizers more comprehensively. So if you're interested in that, let me know in the chat, because that's something I got to put on my burner to start um, working on. So looking at the first row of stabilizers, there's Solvy, Super Solvy, and Ultra Solvy. They go in order from lightest to heaviest. So if you're embroidering something like a t-shirt and you just need a topper, Solvy is an excellent choice for that. Now the bottom stabilizers are like a little specialty to them, and there's Faber-Solvy, which is not a clear film like the ones above it. Faber-Solvy is more paper, more fabric-like. And then its cousin, Sticky Faber-Solvy, has a sticky back to it, like a postage stamp, okay? Just like the Sticky Plus stabilizer in the Tearaway family. So these will absolutely wash away, and all you have to do is like let them soak in a little bit of water and they will rinse out completely. So it just might depend what you're working on that will make you decide, hey, do I need to use Ultra Solvy or should I use Faber-Solvy? So say you're embroidering freestanding lace, for example. You have to decide if you want to use Ultra Solvy or Faber-Solvy. What I find happens is that the Faber-Solvy, there's a couple different things. When I make lace, I haven't had a problem using either one of them. There's some people that say they prefer one over the other. What I was thinking of was if you were to sew straight on to Ultra Solvy stabilizer, okay? You had a piece of it and you're just going to sew right down the middle, okay? It's going to maintain its shape, okay? It's not going to distort at all because it's a film. It's kind of thick. Okay, whereas the Faber-Solvy, if you were to take a same size of Faber-Solvy and sew down the middle of it, it might pucker, it might shrivel up a little bit. It's going to respond to the stitches. So that's kind of what I was getting at. If you don't have it hooped, it's going to behave a little differently. Now the one that has the sticky back side to it, that can also be used with things like that you want to do in the embroidery hoop, for example, that you don't need that extra stabilizer after the project is done. So like I said, we do a lot of creative things like making scarves. So if we're making these thread type scarves with ribbons and threads and all that kind of stuff, we don't want the stabilizer to stay behind. So we use a combination of these stabilizers together in order to make that kind of work. Now, Paper-Solvy is a little different than the rest because it takes a little longer for this stabilizer to wash away. So you really have to rinse this one super good. And when you think it's all out, just rinse it some more. Let it soak good. So it is a paper that will disintegrate in water, okay? It's made of a wood pulp, and that's why it's a little different than all the others, because you only have one chance for this Paper-Solvy to dissolve, or that's done. Once it dries, you can't try to make it go away any further. Now we have one more category. Oh, I'm just looking at my word was off there a little bit. The last category of stabilizers is the heat away stabilizer. There's only one. And so this heat away stabilizer is a great stabilizer to go to if you want to use a stabilizer but your fabric can't get wet and you want that stabilizer to totally disappear. The only caveat here is that this stabilizer and the fabric, particularly the fabric that you're working with, has to tolerate a hot heat, okay? Because you're going to turn your iron up really, really hot and you're going to you're going to iron. So you're going to take your iron back and forth over top of the stabilizer until it shrivels up into little black beads, and then you're going to blow it away and all that stabilizer is totally gone. So there may be some stabilizer behind the scenes, okay, or behind the stitching or whatever that wasn't exposed to the heat that will stay there. But anything that gets ironed over is going to totally disappear. Any questions about stabilizers? Boy, this was fun. So this is the handout that I made for you. Nice and colorful. I like colorful things because that makes me learn better. So all you have to do is go to sewingmachineartistry.mykajabi.com/stabilizers. It's going to ask for you to kindly enter in your name and email address, and then you can submit that form. I think I made it downloadable so that you'll get it right away. If not, an email is definitely going to come through with a link to that download. So I find that to be very helpful. It's tools like this or resources like this that helped me tremendously learn the difference between all of these different stabilizers. And so you all know that I want to promote the next generation of sewing teachers, no matter who you are. You could be a stay-at-home mom. You could be someone that may be losing their job. You may be someone that is retired. But it's information like this that you need to learn to share with your students so that you can look like an expert when you're in front of them, talking to them about different things like that. Makes it really helpful. You don't have to know all the ins and outs of it, but if you at least know the difference between all these different stabilizers and can explain, because it'll happen. Somebody might know a little more about that they use this other type of stabilizer and want to know why you may not have used a tearaway. You can answer their questions in a well-informed manner. So that is part of my empowering creative entrepreneurs like you design the business of your dreams. So that is all I have for today. For those of you that are watching me live on Facebook and YouTube, this is where the presentation ends, and I'm going to finish it here, and I'm going to go join my friends over in the Zoom room. So the next UFO Friday is coming up next month, and it is going to be on February 28th. I'll be home again during that time. Woohoo! So February 28th, if you have any kind of topics that you want me to present, that you're interested in learning about, go ahead and put them in the comments. I'm open to suggestions, and I'd love to see what you want to hear about. So thank you very much for joining me this time. I look forward to seeing you the next time, and have a great weekend and a good month.